So I'll go ahead and call them.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Ricardo Morales, Master Interpreter, previously sworn.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. This is Judge Carter. I'm at the BRC. It's case number 23MO1127. Mr. Burgos, could you put the headset on for me, please? All right, I have the defendant at the podium with the headset on.
Sí.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm there's connection.
All right. Good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Burgos?
Sí, Jesús Arroyo Burgos.
Jesus Arroyo Burgos.
Sir, this is 23MO1127. You were arrested for camping. There is probable cause. Did you want to enter a plea to this offense this morning?
No sé qué decir.
I don't know what to say.
Your Honor, the offer to resolve the charge today is an adjudication of guilt. Time served. I was not able to speak with the client about the offer. I'm not sure if you want to take a plea of no contest today.
Mr. Burgos, do you want to enter a plea of no contest to this charge?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Burgos. Do you have any questions about the rights on the form that you're signing?
No.
No.
Are you currently on probation?
No.
And do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Burgos, at this time, I will accept your plea. Was it a withhold or an adjudication?
Adjudication?
Adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You'll have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or see the clerk for a payment plan. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
And that is the only Spanish case that we have this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too. Good afternoon, or I guess it's still morning. Mr. Jones, are you Mr. Jones?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Jones, you were here in 23 CF 10563. You were arrested for robbery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and petty theft. The court finds probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim or possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond on count 1 is $5,000. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $100. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, you are, and you are presumed not guilty, sir. Are you Mr. Hubner? Mr. Hubner, you were here in 23 CF 10542. You were arrested for possession of fentanyl. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond, sir, is $1,000.
I had $100 bond and paid over $1,000 and paid $1,000 another bond already.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
wondering.
unfortunately, Mr. Huebner, I'm revoking your bonds and you're out on bond cases. Those are gonna be set at none.
Your Honor, for clarification, with regard to 23 CF 5721, that case was actually no-billed back in May. It hasn't it hasn't shown up on the clerk's site yet, but I am working on that to get it clarified. So he's not out on bond on that.
On that particular case?
Yes.
Okay, so then, as far as the FAD goes, I'll take no action on that one.
And this, again, wasn't even on me. They found it around the area.
Your Honor, I don't see an attorney on the other case that he's out on bond. 2023 CF 9.
All right, I'll point the public defender to represent him in that case. Thank you, sir.
I was just wondering if there's any way I can get out, I spent all the money I have, and it's like torture in here. It's too cold and my back's so messed up.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Huebner, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to help you with that today. Thank you. Is Mr. Bigney ready? No? Okay, I'll set him up here then. Is this, tell me your name. Yes, thank you, Ms. Mitchum. You may come forward. This is 23 CT 43. This is your arraignment for driving while license suspended with knowledge. You are represented by the Office of the Public Defender. How would you like to proceed, Ms. George?
No contest.
The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt and credit time served.
Okay, do we? All right, so have we talked to Ms. Mitchum, or do we know how that's going to affect her driving record?
Speak to her about the enhanceability of the driver license suspended as well as mandatory 5-year suspension.
Is this gonna habitualize her?
Not that I saw you.
Okay, I don't have. So, Ms. Mitchum, do you understand? I don't have a copy of your driving, do we have the driving record? Will you do that one and for Williams, the next one?
The next one also? Okay.
Those are the only two driving cases. Thank you. So based on my review of your driving record, Ms. Mincham, it looks like this would be your first conviction for driving while license suspended in the last 5 years. So that would be 1 strike against your 3. Ms. George indicated that she explained to you that if you get 3 driving while license suspended convictions within 5 years or any combination of that along with either a DUI or fleeing and attempting to elude, you'd also lose your driver's license for 5 years. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and if you do get 3 of those convictions, or I guess 2 or more, the state may file that as a felony. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you want to proceed with the plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you read the plea form before you signed it?
We went over the rights, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights that are on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes.
Yes? At this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 12 days in the county jail with credit for 12 days' time served. You will need to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or see the clerk for a payment plan. Okay, so it will be due 1 year from your date of release from custody.
Yeah, but I have a bond.
You all set? Okay, thank you. Mr. Bigney? Ms. Sparcone? Good morning, ma'am. This is 23 CF 10551. Ms. Sparcone, you are present with counsel.
David Bigney.
Mr. Bigney, did you want to be heard on the probable cause issue or just?
No, Your Honor, I've read the affidavit. I don't have any argument on the probable cause, just on the bond issue.
Okay, so the court does find probable cause and go ahead with respect to the bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm not sure what the standard bond is for this, but I do know a little bit about Ms. Marconi. She has no prior history whatsoever, to my knowledge, other than, I think, some traffic tickets. She does have a job that she's working, I believe it's Spectrum. She does have family here, her sister, her boyfriend, 4 kids, 3 of them are hers and 1 that she also cares for. From a financial standpoint, again, I'm not sure what the standard bond is. I believe that if the bond is more than $5,000, that might create a hardship, so we'd ask that the bond be set no higher than 5, and if the standard bond, of course, is lower than 5, then the lower amount of the 2.
Okay. Ms. Barconi, could I have you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Eugene, did you have any questions for Ms. Barconi regarding her bond?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So Ms. Barconi, Mr. Bigney just told me some information about you, and I have the benefit of a information sheet here that pretrial services provides to the court. It says that you are employed by Charter. Is that the Spectrum?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and before that you were employed with Cigna?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you alone going to be responsible for posting your bond?
Yes.
And you have 4 children?
Yes, ma'am.
Are they all minors?
Yes.
Okay. All right, at this time, based upon the information that I have and the fact sheet, I'm going to set Ms. Barconi's bond at $2,500. She's not to return, or ma'am, you're not to return to Hanson Market.
You don't have to worry about me going back, ma'am.
Okay, and you're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any firearms in the home?
No, they took mine.
But you don't have any additional
No.
guns at home?
I just have one, no.
Okay, all right, then we don't need to make an arrangement for that, but you are not to possess any weapons or firearms during the pendency of the case, okay?
Understood. I will not touch any.
Okay.
I don't do trouble.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Bigney?
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Yep, have a good day.
Take care. Thank you.
Is this Ms. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Williams, good afternoon. This is 23 CT 4392. This is your arraignment for the offense of driving while license suspended. Do we have her record? Did you give it to me? I gave it to you. You did. Thank you. You did. All right, Ms. Williams? Oh, I see this. You're wanting to enter a plea this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I just reviewed the driving record, and it appears that this would be your first conviction within the last 5 years for driving while license suspended. So that would be your first strike. You understand if you get 3 driving while license suspended within 5 years, you'll lose your license for 5 years. There's a new thing in the statute too, where if you get 2 or more convictions of driving while license suspended, that you would have to go to jail for 10 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you working on getting your driver's license back?
Yes, I am, until I got into some other stuff, but I'm working on it.
Okay. It looks. Okay. Ms. Williams, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
One moment, Your Honor. Let me see. Yes, Your Honor, she would like to proceed. I was trying to see if she wanted to wait,
Oh, okay.
but she wants to proceed.
I got it. So, Ms. Williams, you told me you read the plea form before you signed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, I'm not.
Are you on probation?
No, I'm not.
And do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. At this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 1 day in the county jail with credit for 1 day time served. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan. Are you being released today?
No.
No.
Okay.
Could it be a year from date of release, Your Honor?
Yeah, so you'll need to get those paid 1 year from your date of release. When you do get released, a lot of your tickets that I saw are unpaid traffic tickets. If you go to the clerk's office at the Orange County Courthouse on the 4th floor, it's room 410, they will be able to loop all of those into a payment plan for you. And then once you take care of all the other stuff, you'll be eligible to get your driver's license. You don't have to have them paid off. You just have to be making the
That's what I
payment.
plan to do.
Okay, I just didn't know if you had that information or
Yes,
not.
ma'am.
Okay, all right, good luck to you.
Thank you very much. You have a blessed day.
You too. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Battle?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor, ma'am.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, no, you're not.
All right, Mr. Battle, you are here for arraignment this morning in 23 MM 4334. I will appoint the public defender to represent you, and I will give you a court date in Division 50 with a not guilty plea entered.
The court date is September 8th, 8:45 a.m., and it's virtual.
And Mr. Battle, this case, I didn't tell you, the charges that you are here for are violation of a pretrial release condition on a domestic violence case and assault. That's what the charges that the state filed in this case.
Violation and assault
Yes, violation of pretrial release.
on who?
It's a domestic violence case. They dropped it from a felony to a misdemeanor, but I'm gonna have to call the attorney so they can go over it with you, because I don't have the facts today. We didn't have an attorney. I'm not sure. Did I speak to you?
Okay, Are you Ms. Campbell? Ms. Campbell, you are here in 23 MM 3148. This is your arraignment for the offense of petty theft. You are represented by the Office of the Public Defender. How would she like to proceed, Ms. George? Sure, and this is a Division 85 case. So, go ahead.
It's August 28th at 9 a.m. in courtroom 4A.
Thank you. Mr. Goodwin? All right, Mr. Goodwin, this is 23 MM 4866. This is your arraignment for the offense of petty theft.
The offer to resolve the case was a withhold of adjudication, credit time served, no return to 50 South Roslyn Avenue. There's also a cost of investigation of $144 to the Orlando Police Department, and he would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest, Your Honor.
Mr. Goodwin, is that correct? Okay. And did you have an opportunity to read this plea form or review it with Ms. George before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form? Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Understand?
At this time, I will accept your plea, withhold adjudication, sentence you to 6 days in the county jail with credit for 6 days' time served. You're not to return to 50 South Roslyn. You'll have to pay court costs, including a cost of investigation of $144 to the Orlando Police Department. Those will be due 1 year. Is he being released today?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe so.
Okay. So, Mr. Goodwin, those court costs will be due 1 year from today.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Hitchcock?
Yes.
Sir, good morning. This is 23 MM 3899. Your arraignment for the offense of trespass in an occupied structure. You are represented by the Office of the Public Defender. Ms. George, how would he like to proceed?
The offer to resolve the case is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to 2420 East Colonial Drive. There's also a cost of investigation in the amount of $120 to the Orlando Police Department. And Mr. Hitchcock would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right. Mr. Hitchcock, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to read this plea form I'm holding before you signed it?
I can't hear too good.
Oh, no problem. Can you hear me better?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity to read this plea form before you
Yes, I
signed it?
did, yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights?
No, ma'am.
And are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No.
Are you on probation?
No.
Are you aware that if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
I'm not sure what you said then again. I'm kind of, my ears are real clogged up.
I'm sorry to hear that. What I said was, are you aware that if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Oh, yes, yes.
All right, sir. I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 83 days in the county jail. You have credit for 83 days time served. You are not to return to 2420 East Colonial Drive. You'll have to pay court costs, including the cost of investigation of $120 to the Orlando Police Department. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan.
Okay, do I leave today?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, great.
Thank you, sir.
I'll please that, all right,
Okay, have a good day.
all right.
Mr. Hitchcock, it's a correction. It's 66 days in the county jail. I said 83 on accident, but it's 66. Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, this is 23 MM 487. This is your arraignment for the offense of petty theft.
Your Honor, the offer to resolve the case is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to 1720 East Silver Star Road. There's also a cost of investigation in the amount of $142.96 to the Ocoee Police Department. Mr. Slaughter would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, did you have an opportunity to review this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights?
No, ma'am.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 34 days in the county jail with 34 days time served. You're not to return to 1720 East Silver Star Road. You'll have to pay court costs, including the cost of investigation of $142.96 to the Ocoee Police Department. Those will all be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan.
I understand, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sure. Outside medical? All right, we'll reset him for when he returns. Mr. Parker? Good, sir. This is 20, oh,
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
okay, 23 MM 5602. You were arrested for open carry of a firearm?
No. Laying on the floorboard of the driver's side.
Defense would argue no probable cause. In order to have an open carry, it states it is unlawful for any person to openly carry on or about his person any firearm. I believe it was on the floorboard, Your Honor, inside the vehicle.
And he was the driver.
Let me just,
He stepped out of the vehicle upon sight of the officer, and he was the driver.
we're not.
Does anyone have any case law about what it means to say on or about his or her person?
Oh, on or about, yeah. It's for her person, so if it's about.
Regardless of the fact, Your Honor, we're gonna ask for pretrial release. I believe he qualifies. Defense will waive any defects. Because I want to look into it more, I'm not sure.
I was
So,
just pulling up Westlaw, okay. Well, and the standard for probable cause is whether a reasonable person would believe the crime had been committed. So based on the facts that I do see that the black firearm was laying on the floorboard on the driver's side where Parker was seating prior to exiting the vehicle, I'm gonna find probable cause at this time. Mr. Parker, I'm gonna place you on pretrial release. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms while the case is pending, sir. Okay?
When do I come back?
I don't know. You'll actually be given a court date when you leave here. This is a misdemeanor. You'll be given an arraignment date, and make sure you show up on that day. Correct. You're welcome. No, that was Mr.
I think,
This is Mr. Jesus now.
Oh, yeah, are you Jeremy? Oh, good morning. This is case number 23MM5598. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning.
Ask for an ROR. She has no criminal history that I see.
All right, the court has no objection to the ROR. I'll place you on, I'll release you on your own recognizance, ma'am, but you are not to return to the Lake Underhill Park. Do you understand? Ma'am, you are not to return to the Lake Underhill Park?
Okay, just want to make sure.
Is she understanding, Ms. George?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Mr. Williams? Hello. This is 23MM580. You were arrested for petty theft. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there an offer for Mr. Williams?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Williams, at this time, the court's going to release you on your own recognizance. You are not to return to the Walmart. Mr. Williams, are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. That's okay, I just wasn't sure. Because this is important information. You're not to return to the Walmart, and you need to appear at all of your court dates. When you are released from the jail today, they're going to give you a court date. Make sure you appear on that date, otherwise there's going to be a warrant issued for your arrest.
Yes, ma'am. And yes, ma'am.
Have a good day. This is Mr. Escobar?
This is Mr. McKinney.
Mr. Escobar bonded, Your Honor?
Okay. This is Mr. McKinney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And the offer to resolve his case is a withhold of adjudication, credit, time served. And he would like to accept the state's offer and enter plea of no contest.
Okay. Mr. McKinney, did you read the plea form, sir? Is that a yes?
Yes.
And do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form? No. Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication? No. Are you on probation? Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation? Yes. I will accept your plea, sir, withhold adjudication, sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You'll have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan. Thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
This is 23MO1130. You were arrested for disorderly conduct. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Was there an offer for Mr. Rodriguez?
There's no offer, Your Honor.
This one.
Did Mr. Rodriguez want to resolve his case today?
Does, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Rodriguez, did you have an opportunity to review the plea form? No? I think Ms. George is grabbing you one. So, Mr. Rodriguez, if you were to enter a plea today, do you understand you're giving up your right to have a trial by a jury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you would not be able to put on any evidence, witnesses, or defenses on your own behalf? Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that you'd be giving up your right to make the state of Florida prove that you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand that?
Okay.
You understand? And are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. At this time, I am going to accept your plea. I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You're going to have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan.
Your Honor, I just didn't have the case number to write on the plea
Oh,
form.
that's okay. I don't see it on here. Would you mind writing that number on there? Thank you. Is this Mr. Snow? Okay. Mr. Burns? Are you Mr. Burns? Sir, good afternoon. You are here in 23 CT 1270. You were arrested for driving while license suspended. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You also have 23 MM 5600, where you were arrested for resisting officer without violence. And there's probable cause for that offense as well. On that case, your bond is $1,000, sir, and on the driving while license suspended case, your bond is gonna be $500. I'm not gonna take any action at this time on the out on bond case. Mr. Burns, you are not to drive without a valid driver's license. I only have a snapshot of what the officer put in the affidavit regarding your suspensions. However, it looks like you have a bunch of unpaid traffic tickets. I don't know if what counties those are in, but if they're in Orange County, you need to go to the 4th floor of the courthouse and ask to be put on a payment plan to start paying on those. And then figure out what else is going on with your license. I would suggest doing that before you go to court for the driving while license suspended case. So that way you can start working on that to see if you can get a license. Once you're on the payment plan for the Orange County cases, you would be eligible to get a driver's license before the tickets are paid off, as long as you're paying. Okay, do you understand? Is that yes? Okay. You have any questions, Mr. Burns? Okay, thank you. Are you Miss St. Fleur? Okay. Miss Campbell? Ms. Campbell, you failed to appear in 23 CF 1325 for a competency status hearing. I was gonna look that up to see. So at this time, Ms. Campbell, your bond is set at none, and it will remain at none at this time. Oh, that's why I recognize you. So you also have a case that's in my division in 22 MM 6472, where you failed to appear for your competency status hearing. And that bond will also remain at none. So Ms. Campbell, what's gonna happen next is your attorney is going to speak with the doctor who was appointed to represent you, and they're gonna come out here and they're gonna talk with you about your case. And then your case is gonna be rescheduled for a hearing. All right, thank you. Are you Mr. Coogan?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Coogan, this is 23 CF 10560. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I do find probable cause. Your bond's gonna be $2,500, sir. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir. Are you Mr. Cook? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cook, this is 23 CF 10561. You were arrested for burglary of an occupied dwelling and for grand theft. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Your bond on count 1 is $5,000. Your bond on count 2 is $150. I'm revoking the bond in 23 CF 4499. That'll be set at none. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Mr. Green? Mr. Green, this is 23 CF 9456. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm. There is well, this is pursuant to a probable cause warrant. You are not to have any contact with the victim or witnesses. You're not to return to the scene or possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is going to be $2,500. You're not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. Mr. Green, do you understand?
You're just trying to find out the name of the victim.
I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Mr. Hughley? This is 23 CF 10546. Sir, you were arrested for trafficking in fentanyl. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. And the set bond at $50,000. 50,000. Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Jenkins, you were here in 23 CF 10562. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, resisting officer without violence, and possession of methamphetamine. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. Your bond on count 3 is $150. You're not to return to the scene, which is the 7-Eleven. You are not to have any contact with the victim, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms, sir. Thank you. The top one? Yeah. Mr. Jackson, or I guess is Jackson your first name? Okay, and it's Mr. Connolly. This is 23 CF 10564. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance, petty theft of $100 or more, and loitering or prowling.
Defense,
Go ahead, Ms. George.
defense will argue no probable cause to the loitering or prowling. Your Honor,
I'm not sure about the probable
the
cause for the, oh,
burglar-
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
the burglary, or the petty theft, Your Honor, they stated that allegedly saw two people running from the vehicle. One witness said she saw another person. However, the victim states they can't They would not be able to identify who that person was. Additionally, there's no indication in this affidavit that anyone actually was seen entering the vehicle. It says they were running from the vehicle. And there's no indication that, or no evidence found on my client that the wallet was found on him that was allegedly missing inside the vehicle.
Mr. George, did you want to request a supplemental report?
Yes, Your Honor.
I
mean, there's bonds, but I would ask for a supplemental.
I was staring right at Miss Eugene
I know,
as I
I
was
know.
talking. Oh, did you want to request the supplemental reports?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right, so the court finds probable, well, I don't, there's no probable cause for anything.
Defense would ask for an ROR.
All right, at this time, due to the fact that the court does not find probable cause, Mr. Connolly will be released on his own recognizance, and therefore I won't be taking any action at this time on his pretrial release. This is Ms. Lopez?
Yes.
Good morning, or yes,
Hey.
it's still good morning.
Good afternoon.
It's 23 CF 8780. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause capias for battery 1 prior. Your bond is set at $2,500, ma'am. And you were also arrested in 23 MO 1132 for camping, which there is probable cause for. I'll appoint the public defender if I didn't say that on the felony case. Did you want to resolve the camping case today?
Yes. What is the camping is that a considered felony?
No, it's a county ordinance.
Right. So that will be time served. Or?
Yes.
Okay. The other battery, I have no clue what it's about.
Well, I'm sure you don't, because this was a.
Okay.
So, Ms. Lopez, the information that was filed in the case alleges that on May 2nd of 2022 in said county, Orange County, Florida, that a battery was committed upon Peggy Lee Martin
Who?
by you.
Who? Who was that? I've ever heard about that person in my life.
So the alleged victim is Peggy Lee Martin. It allegedly occurred on May 22nd.
Is it a female or
May
male?
2nd of 2022. So your lawyer will come talk to you about that case. You do have a bond on it, though, if you're able to post the bond.
Okay, sure. But then the time served, this won't, but this will affect the time served today or? No. I have,
No. So the camping charge will be over today and done.
okay, cool. Thank
Okay,
you.
and then you just have that battery 1 prior that's left.
Okay, so that's just gonna stay on my record, but it's
Well,
not gonna affect me today because I have no clue ever like what happened, like who's this or anything.
Right, no, the battery is not over, so you still have to come back to court for that if you bond out, or if you stay here at the jail, they'll take you to court for that.
Okay, cool. So they'll send me a letter for the court date on that, I guess.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, thank you.
Ma'am, did you read this plea form before you signed it? Or review it with Ms. George?
Yes.
Okay, did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form?
No,
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication?
no,
Are you on probation?
no,
You understand that if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Correct, yes.
All right, ma'am, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You'll have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you'll need to see the clerk for a payment plan.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great week.
You too. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Mendez?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is case number 23 CF 1565. You were arrested for possession of cocaine, tampering with physical evidence, and resisting officer without violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is 1,000, your bond on count 2 is 150, your bond on count 3 is 100. And I am revoking the bond in 23 CF 609252, or maybe that's 9252. And that will be set at none. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, defense would ask that you consider, if you are inclined to revoke and double as opposed to holding him at no bond. I can't tell, I don't remember if this has been filed on, but if you look, he's never, other than that one arrest, never been convicted, never been arrested for any other charge. At the age of 22, defense would ask that you consider revoking and doubling if you are inclined to revoke that out on bond.
I would not take any action on his out on bond case, but I would add random urinalysis testing to the new offense if he wants to stay out.
Yeah, that's all right.
He's okay with that.
Okay, so you're gonna need to report to PTR, Mr. Mendez, to be randomly tested. If you do test positive for any controlled substances that you don't have a valid prescription for, your bond's gonna be revoked.
And could he just have a 30-day grace period on any marijuana?
Yes.
Thank you.
Immediately. Mr. Roby? All right, this is 23 CF 10566. You were arrested for burglary of a conveyance, petty theft, and loitering or prowling. This is a companion case to Mr. Connolly's case.
Yes, Your Honor. Defense would make the same argument that no PC to the loitering or prowling. Also, the burglary, the victim stated he would not be able to identify any victims. There's no indication that they actually entered the vehicle. I think, no, I know, that's what I just said. And stole. The wallet was never recovered on my client. Defense would argue no probable cause.
Ms. Eugene?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Okay. At this time, the court does not find probable cause, and Mr. Roby will be released on his own recognizance. Mr. Trotman? Is that correct? Mr. Trotman, this is 23 CF 10554. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Troutman, at this time, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, sir. You are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, and you are to appear at all court dates. Thank you, sir.
You have a blessed day.
You too. Good morning, ma'am. Tell me your name, please.
Coyote Turner.
Ms. Turner, this is 23 CF 10553. You were arrested for possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time. Ma'am, you are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription, and you are to appear at all court dates.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
How about Mr. Vaughn? All right, I'll find a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. In 23 CF 10555, he was arrested for petty theft with 2 or more prior convictions, trespass on property, and resisting officer without violence. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Bond on count 1 is 1,000. Bond on counts 2 and 3 is 500. He's not to return to the Walgreens. And then in 23 MM 3775, he failed to appear. His bond is set at $2,000 on each count. We need to give him a PTC date in Division 83. And that will be 8/21 at 8:30, courtroom 6C. All right, anything else? All right.
Nothing from the state.
Okay, court will be in recess.
George, on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
Thank you. Sir, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Could you stand up, please, and raise your right hand to be sworn in? Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
All right. Thank you, sir. You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Arroyo, State Certified Interpreter and previously sworn.
Good morning, Ms. Arroyo. This is Judge Carter. I'm at the BRC. I have the defendant at the podium with the headset on.
Sí, señora. Sí, señora.
Connection is established.
Thank you. This is case number 23 MM 5601. Sir, could you tell me your name, please?
Yes, Science Espitia. Espitia. Yes, Science Espitia.
Science Esquitia.
Sir, you have been arrested for 2 counts of battery domestic violence. The court finds probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with either victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things if needed, and you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered this morning?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Did you get bond, Your Honor?
Oh, it's 500 on count 1 and 500 on count 2. Thank you.
¿Cómo así 500 y 500?
What do you mean by 500 in one, 500 in another?
Well, you have 2 counts of battery, so your bond is 500 for each count.
Gracias, señora.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Roy. That's all I have this morning.
You're welcome, Your Honor. The interpreter will disconnect.
Okay. Good morning. Are you Mr. Woods? Sir, this is 23 CF 10548. You were you've been arrested for shooting at or within to a building. Excuse me, I do find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victims. You are not to return to the scene. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is $5,000, sir. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Sheldon Wesley Arthur.
Mr. Arthur, you were here in 23 CF 10530. This was reset from yesterday. It looks like probable cause was determined as to count 2, but the state was going to supplement with information as to count 1.
The state has no further information, Your Honor.
All right. So, excuse me, at this time, is the state seeking for the court to find probable cause for a trespass?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. So as to count 1, the court will find probable cause for a trespass. Bond will be set at $1,000. Sir, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You're not to return to the scene. And you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, for my clarification, so it's trespass on count 1, which is $1,000, and then PC was already found for the criminal mischief, and we're staying that at 100?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
200 with 10%. 10%.
Both.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Eric Carrillo Reyes.
Sir, you were here in 23 MM 5595. You were arrested for 2 counts of petty theft of $100 or more and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to return to the premium outlet stores. Bond on count 1 is $500. Bond on counts 2 and 3 is $100. I am revoking the bond in 23 CF 3809. That bond will be set at none, sir. Thank you. Nope. I have Mr. Jones. I'll get her attention.
We'll waive, Your Honor.
No, this is Mr. Jones.
Oh, okay, I thought
He was just looking over at you because
Oh,
I
okay,
think he
okay.
wanted to talk to you. You're Mr. Jones, correct? Okay, sir. This is 23 MM 5585. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence, and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Excuse me. You are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things. And you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered?
Mr. Jones can't afford a monetary bond. He's asking for an ROR on both counts.
So, Mr. Jones, based upon the facts contained in the affidavit along with the first appearance information sheet that I have been given, the court is not going to release you on your own recognizance at this time. Thank you, sir. Ms. George, did you want to waive his
Yes.
appearance? Okay, and that's 23 CF 10446. The public defender is appointed to represent him. He was arrested for attempted second-degree murder. The court does find probable cause. He is not to have any contact with the victim, return to the scene, or possess any weapons or firearms, and bond will remain at none.
Yeah, he's entitled.
He's entitled to a bond, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, I think the scene may have been his home.
Well, I think it was the family's house. And I
don't-
think the stepdad lives there.
Oh, I thought the stepdad went over there to pray with them.
You're right. You're right. Okay, so delete that condition. Did the state want to be heard with respect to the bond amount?
Your Honor, it sounds as though there are some mental health issues, but just based on the severity of it, I would ask for at least a $50,000 bond, Your Honor.
Ms. George?
Your Honor, he has a very limited criminal history, no failures to appear, so defense would ask for maybe a $25,000 bond as opposed to a $50,000.
This is difficult because I have zero information about what the family can afford. So it's really just an arbitrary number at this point. I'm gonna set it at the 50,000, and then Ms. George, your office can talk to the family and file a bond motion and to determine what may be a more appropriate amount for them. Okay. Is this Ms. Acosta?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good morning, ma'am. This is 23 CF 10549. You were arrested for battery and for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The court does find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $100. Your bond on count 2 will be $2,500. Did you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry. So the $2,500 bond, you just pay 10% of that to the bondsman?
You'll need to call the bondsman and ask them specifically what you'd be required to post, but I believe that is typically what they require, but you'll talk to them about what that exact amount would be.
No, that's the attorney.
Okay.
Good morning. Sir?
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Are you Mr. Alexander?
Yes, ma'am.
This is 23 CF 10557. You were arrested for aggravated battery. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered this morning?
No, ma'am.
All right, so your bond is $2,500. Thank you. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Sean Berry.
Mr. Berry, you are here, sir. In case number 23 CF 10552, you were arrested for aggravated battery with a weapon. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things if needed. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is going to be $5,000, and I'm revoking the bond on 23 CF 6174. That bond will be set at none. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, defense's only argument is that it has not been filed on. He was arrested in May 10th, and to date, no information has been filed. Defense would ask, I believe he was out on pretrial release, if you will revoke the pretrial release and actually set a monetary bond, as opposed to holding him at no bond, given he has no other criminal convictions in his history. Other than the out on bond, he has nothing.
Understand. That request will be denied. He's out on PTR and bond for a battery domestic violence. And the allegations in the new law offense mirror what he's out on release for. So that'll be denied. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Imanos Sotomayor.
This is 23 CF 10559. You were arrested for kidnapping, battery, and resisting officer without violence. The court does find probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. Do you all live together?
With the victim?
Correct.
No.
Okay. You're to have no contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are to maintain a separate residence. Is count one a PBL?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay. Ms. George, are you seeking to have a bond hearing in the circuit division?
Your Honor, given that he has no convictions, defense would ask that you consider using your discretion to set a bond in this case.
Your Honor, he has no convictions, but if you look at his arrest history, the majority of it is violent.
At this time, I am going to decline to exercise my my discretion to set a bond based upon the limited information that I do have regarding Mr. Sotomayor. So that bond on count one will remain at none. Bond on count two will be set at 500. Bond on count three will be set at 100. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Hedgie Felton.
Mr. Felton, this is 23 MM5603. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence, and criminal mischief. I do find probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Bond on count one will be $1,000. Bond on count two will be 100. I just wanted to take a look at that misdemeanor case that you're out on. Has an information been filed in that case?
It has, Your Honor. Arraignment is set for August 15th.
Mr. Felton, did you want to resolve that case today? You're out on bond for resisting officer without violence and providing false ID to law enforcement. You have an arraignment set for August 15th.
I was never aware of those charges.
What?
Could you repeat the charges again, please, ma'am?
It's resisting officer without violence. Well, let me look at the information. Officer without violence and providing false identification to law enforcement. You were arrested back in July for those offenses.
I have no knowledge of these charges. I came to jail for a violation of injunction. So I had a temporary injunction. That's what my paperwork is, a violation of injunction. So the next week was the injunction date, which neither one of us showed up, and
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a bench off.
I see why there's confusion based on.
Is there
All right. So at this time, Ms. George, actually, upon reading the affidavit, I'm actually revoking the bond in 23 MM 5031. That's going to be set at none.
He wanted to take whatever offer.
I'm not making an offer. Is the state making an offer?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
There was a. I'm sorry.
Good morning. Are you Ms. Hill? Ma'am, this is 23 MM 5604. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Good morning, sir.
Hi,
Could you tell me your name, please?
Anthony Collins.
Mr. Collins?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Mr. Collins, what is your relationship with Ms. Hill?
This is my girlfriend.
Okay. Do you want to have contact with her?
I do.
Do you have any fear of her?
I don't.
Are you living together?
Temporarily on and off. She's kind of on, she's a student, doesn't work, so she crashes with me from time to time. But she is not local here to Orlando. She lives in South Florida.
Okay. Are you okay with her continuing to stay with you?
I'm okay with that, yes.
All right. Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you in the past?
No, ma'am, she's good.
Okay. Ms. George, do you have any questions for Mr. Collins?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. George, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Hill, at this time, I'm going to order that you are not to have any hostile contact with Mr. Collins. That means you're not to act aggressive toward him in any way or speak to him in any sort of aggressive manner. Do you understand? Yes. Okay. And then you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. And I will place you on pretrial release. I have no objection to you going to South Florida to where you live if you need to. You just need to make sure that you're in contact with your pretrial release officer.
Okay.
So you will be released later today through pretrial, and you won't have to post a monetary bond. Okay? So you'll be able to pick her up later today.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. McCray?
How you doing?
Hi, sir. You are here in 23 MM 5592. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You have to maintain a separate residence. You have a one-time return with law enforcement to get your things if needed. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. I will place you on pretrial release at this time. So you'll be released later today and won't have to post a monetary bond. This isn't a final order. They're just not present today. So after you speak with your attorney, they can file a motion to modify the living situation or the contact. But this is the order today. Do you understand the order? No?
So, do I get a bond?
You don't have a bond, but you'll be released through pretrial. So you don't have to pay any money, but you'll be released through pretrial. But what I'm saying is, you can't stay at the house if your stepdaughter's there.
Okay,
Okay? You understand?
yes.
If she's not there, you can be there. And once you speak with your lawyer, if you want to get the order modified, they have to file a motion.
Everything mine, so,
Like I said, you'll have to talk to your lawyer about that to see what you need to get modified, okay?
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. McWhite? All right, do you want to reset that one, or?
No, defense will waive, Your Honor.
Waive, okay. So that's 23 MM 5605. I'll appoint the public defender to represent Ms. McWhite. She was, her appearance was waived. She was arrested for battery and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. She's not to have any contact with the victim. She is to maintain a separate residence. She can have a one-time return with the police to get her things, and she's not to possess any weapons or firearms. Her bond on count 1 is 500. Her bond on count 2 is 100. Mr. Ortiz?
Reset, Your Honor, because of the out on bond.
Okay. I'll reset him for, I guess, tomorrow. Let me give this back to you for now. Yeah. Save it for tomorrow. Thank you. Mr. Pizzuto? All right. Mr. Pizzuto, you've got several cases this morning. You have 23 MM 5599. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. What's going on? Where?
Can we bring both in, Your Honor?
Oh, you know what? I just recognized the last name, and I pulled the other, Alfredo. This is Joseph, right? Yes. I pulled Alfredo and put it with these cases because it was an out of county, and I was gonna do both at the same time, but now I see. Okay, got it. Pizzuto. It's his brother. So this is the victim, Alfredo Pizzuto. It's an out of county from Volusia. Yeah, I totally missed the first name being different. No. Oh, I have those as VOPs. But yes, you're right, they're out of county. Yes. Are you Alfredo?
Yeah.
All right, good morning, Alfredo. Could you raise your right hand to be sworn in? Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to receive is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. So, Alfredo, your brother was arrested for battery, domestic violence. You are the listed victim in the case. Do you want to have contact with your brother?
Have contact.
Yes.
I mean, we live together, so
I understand that.
I just don't want to be bothered. You know, that's all.
Okay, so is that a yes or a no? Do you want to have contact with him or not?
No.
No. Okay, thank you, sir. While I have you here, Alfredo, you were arrested for an out-of-county warrant out of Volusia County for failing to appear related to a driving while license suspended case. Your bond in that case is $323. If you're unable to post that bond, sir, Volusia County is going to come and pick you up, and you'll see a judge when you get there.
Can I speak?
Oh, sure.
So I paid my GLAD fines, and the judge said if I pay them before the court date, I don't have to come to court. So that's why I didn't go.
But did you reinstate your driver's license?
Yeah.
Can I say that again? So, Mr. Pizzuto, I'm going to release you at this time, based upon the fact that your driver's license is valid, and this was for failing to appear on the driving while license suspended charge. You need to contact Judge Miller's office, that's the judge who issued this out of Volusia County, and let them know that, you've reinstated your driver's license and that the warrant was executed. I don't know if there's anything else that they're,
Yeah, there's a
do.
GLAD
I just don't want you to get rearrested for any reason.
Yeah, no, I can go talk to them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
I've been
Okay?
trying to contact them, but.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So Mr. Joseph Pizzuto, again, sir, you are not to have any contact with your brother. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You also have 2 out-of-county violations of probation out of Sarasota County. And they are based upon the new law offenses. I do find probable cause for the violations of probation. Those bonds will be set at none. Once you resolve your Orange County case, Sarasota County will come and pick you up, sir. You'll see a judge when you get there. Okay? Go ahead. Oh, yes, thank you. 500 on the bond for Orange County. Did you have a question, Mr. Pizzuto? Well, there's 2, they just did 2 affidavits, but it's it looks to me to be the same case out of Sarasota County. There's, the offense date is the same, 8/8 of 2022, false imprisonment and battery. But I'm assuming that's probably one case out of Sarasota County. Okay, thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Mr. Singh?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir. This is 23 MM 579. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is $500, sir. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered?
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning. Are you Miss Tate? Miss Tate, this is 23 MM 5591. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You can have a one-time return with the police to get your things, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. At this time, I am going to place you on pretrial release. So you'll be released later today. You won't have to post a monetary bond. Do you have any questions about what I've ordered?
Yes.
Okay.
We live together.
Right.
This was we never really fight.
I understand. So the order today is that you have to maintain a separate residence. You can go back with the police to get your things. So you would call the non-emergency phone number and have them meet you there to get your things. If he's not there, then you are allowed to stay there. If
I don't have anywhere even.
I can't really help you with that issue, it's not a final order, so your lawyers can file a motion to have that condition modified on a later date. Because he's not here today to tell me his position. But unfortunately, I can't help you with your current issue. Okay, you have to find somewhere else to stay in the meantime.
So do I just ask the public defender to do a modification? Sorry.
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Good morning. Are you Ms. Flores?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Flores, you are here because you failed to appear for a plea out of Brevard County. Your bond is set at none. Brevard County will come and pick you up and you'll see a judge when you get there.
Okay.
All right.
Do you know if I'll get a bond
when I get there?
I don't have that information. You'll have to speak with them in Brevard County.
Okay.
Okay.
Will I be going to Brevard today?
Between probably today and Thursday, I would say.
Is there anything that I could do to like speed up the process? I'm a college student, so
No, there's not. Okay, thank you. Good morning. Are you Miss Knoll?
Yeah.
All right, Miss Knoll, you're here for an out-of-county warrant out of Okeechobee County for petty theft. The bond is $1,000, ma'am. If you're unable to post that, Okeechobee will come pick you up and you'll see a
I'm able
judge.
to post it. I'm able to post it, yeah.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Then you'll have to report to, when you do, if you do post the bond, I would check in with the clerk of the court or the public defender or whoever's representing you in Okeechobee County to make sure you know when your next court date is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, ma'am, have a good day.
You have a great day. Y'all have a great day.
Okay. How about Mr. Dennis? All right, I'll find a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. This is 21 CF 14784. It's alleged that he has violated his community control. His bond is set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. He also has 23 CF 10471. This is a warrant. Interesting. Bond on count 1 will be 2,500. Bond on count 2 is 1,500. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him in that case as well. Ms. Eugene, were you all set on the 33-day motion?
I just need to print it, Your Honor, but yes.
Okay. 23 MM 4666 David Robinson.
Granted, case was no billed.
That'll be granted. 23 CF 4503 Christopher Bako.
Denied and information was filed.
That'll be denied. 23 CF 8953 Lorenzo Johnson.
Denied and information was filed.
That'll be denied. 23 CF 8829 Jonte Pierre.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
That'll be granted. 23 CF 8576 Jackson Mello.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
That'll be granted. 23 CF 8922 Carl Hill.
Denied and information was filed.
That's denied. 23 CF 8969 Franco Miranda.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
That's granted. 23 CF 5814 Danelle Allen.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Granted. 23 CF 8932 Rashim Jones.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Granted. 23 CF 8956 Jeremy Powell.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Granted. 23 CF 7807 James Sneed.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Granted. And 23 CF 9106 Robert Roos.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
That's granted. And 23 CF 8970 Juan Jackson.
Your Honor, can I, just give me a moment. I need to confirm that I have a filing ID.
Sure.
Denied, information was filed.
Denied. All right, then court will be in recess.